Hey y'all, hey, it's your girl, Naughty, aka Queen Goddess Hope. I am coming to you with some advice my dad would give. As a woman, let me clear my throat. As a woman, there are certain things that you do not have to accept from a man. And I say that in the most respectful way as possible. You still can have some class and some dignity. You do not have to let someone program your mind into believing that you're this damsel in distress. The last time I checked, I owned my crown. Just like you need to, should own your crown. Know that everybody is unique, sure, but everybody is not a true soul. Everybody doesn't have a soul. Comprehend that. Therefore, if you just so happen to encounter those individuals who do not have a soul, and for some wise way they coid their way into your life, know that at any given point you can take your power back. You deserve to have boundaries for yourself and able to recognize when someone is trying to manipulate the situation in their favor based upon an appearance or a avatar that they've projected in front of the public. I love myself wholeheartedly because I am who I am, because I am myself everywhere. I show up as myself everywhere. I take into account my surroundings more than anything in this world today. So know that you can place boundaries on the things that you will not accept. It is okay to stand up for yourself in any capacity. If you don't like it, speak up about it. I have literally been silent for so many years because I grew up in a biblical home where you love your neighbor as you love yourself. So if I love myself, I'm going to be kind to myself and others. But I've been quiet for far too long, just observing. I'm cool with observing. And that is that ego mentality. That is that Rapunzel energy. You all the way at the top of the tower, my guy. How much is he going to work to get you out of the tower? There's only one way. It's like 6 foot by 6 foot all around. It's a huge window, but the tower is so big that's the only way you can rescue this being from this beanstalk. That's how much y'all gotta work to be in the chosen one's energy right now. If you haven't awakened to your purpose today, baby, however you may shine, know that there is an army behind you, whether if it's in the physical or in the spiritual. My dad always said, you should save yourself for marriage, because if you so happen to have a child out of wedlock, you're now stuck with that energy for a minimum legally, according to the people that were sent to govern the planet called Earth, the United States, i.e. this is where I am. So, with that being said, How many rules are you going to continue to follow? When are you going to recognize that there is a calling on your life and it's okay to challenge the alphabet boys? It's okay to work with them because there has to be a harmony. No, I don't like you in the public. I might not even like you in the spiritual. I woke up with bruises on my body today. And it's like, I took a shower before I went to sleep and then I woke up and took a shower and I literally had bruises on my leg. So what kind of work are you doing in the spiritual realm if God sent these people to govern you because you don't even know how to act on your own? You couldn't even awaken to your purpose on your own. He had to send people to so you could follow. Again, if you are a chosen one, you have a purpose. You are a leader. I don't call them followers. I call them my community because I know them. You know, I've come into these spaces where I'm recognizing that, again, once again, bringing it all back to the beginning. I'm loving thy neighbor. But I promise you, along the way, there's always going to be challenges when you're going against the status quo. When you are the standout, when you are capable of making a demand or commanding a presence in the most subtle way, because that's that chosen energy, that's that delicate flower, aka your womb, that you have to harness and cherish, where you know that everybody cannot have that energy. It's not for everybody, mama. I cannot hear about teenage kids anymore. I think of women like Tracy Ellis Ross, who is now 50 years old and she hasn't had a child yet. Who knows what God has ordained for her life? If we are technically reverse aging, we look like teenagers or early 20 and 30-year-olds when we're 50 and 60 years old right now. Just imagine the youthful spirit that these people have to also have to maintain that youthfulness. You got to think about that. Today, walking on the street, so many people just was talking to me, and I'm like, bro, no. No. The energy can't be that bright because you recognize that this is a delicate flower. Somebody has to climb to the beanstalk to prove their love for you. Sometimes things are pure energy and you have no idea what that energy could feel like. How does a long-term date feel? How does dating somebody for a year feel? You know, when I was going to Faith Fellowship Outreach Church in Sayreville, New Jersey, there was a brother there who ran, his name just slipped my mind, but he ran the marriage ministry. And he was like, people come into my office all the time talking about how they want to get married to somebody and they haven't been with them through a year, through a full season. 4 seasons. I literally was holding out cookies from a lot of people for like years, bro. Years. Like, I don't care how much you like me. You definitely probably won't ever try it. There are some people who have never tried it and they will tell you that they did it because it's just so real in their minds that they know they did and they didn't. And what's so crazy to me is, like, at times people can convince themselves that just because you have this delicate flower that they enjoy, that you should automatically want to give it to them. And that's not true. So make sure that, especially now in this sensitive energy of, the election closing out, seeing the remnants of the market adjusting, looking at the economy, looking at my surroundings, looking at the economic price influx, of just day-to-day goods. It's so interesting. And you really have to maintain a certain vibration where we are headed. Something that my dad also said was to keep a cool head, go to God with your problems. It's nice to talk them through to people, but they don't need to know what you're going through. The only person that can really genuinely help you is your creator. Why do I need to go outside of my being for advice? You always had the answers from within. I always feel empowered when regardless of what the true genesis of my existence on this planet may have been or may be, I'm thankful to have had a male figure in my life who wanted to sow good seeds and good deeds, teach her morals. And then, on the feminine side with my mom, I was always into like those teen magazines. All of a sudden, going to like the doctor's offices, they always had like the tabloid magazines, and you'd be in the doctor's office for hours. Oh my goodness, 2-3 hours just sitting in somebody corny doctor's office because their name was popping, and going to Dr. McMahon's office on Staten Island, reading the pop tabloids, it kind of got me into looking at fashion and looking at advertising, and understanding that, this, little perfume swatch, let me rub that joint on me, make it smell good. Might take that to the crib if they got the sample still here, because it used to come in like the little test tubes back in the G-Day with the little spray. Oh, baby, that was a time. And just thinking about that mindset and how I wanted to be in those ads, because these magazines were like the top magazines, It was a big to-do to, get a Vogue magazine, or a, High Times was like a big thing back then too. Like, it was dope to get car magazines, or the best gaming. We used to play Zelda a lot, and Super Mario, Street Fighter. If y'all all put y'all money together and you spend $50 to get a book, y'all all got the cheat codes, you know what I mean? Or you sit in Barnes & Noble for hours writing down all the cheat codes on the paper. Man, this was just a different type of energy. So like my childhood was curated around books and education and, a Bible-based place. So while I may believe that this organization, may be a cult today, I still recognize that it taught me how to read. And to know that there are a lot of people who don't know how to read today, it really breaks my heart, and it forces me to read more. I'm thankful to be able to know how to do so, just to think about the fact that when we used to go to the Kingdom Hall, my dad would always say, make sure you taking notes, make sure you're paying attention, because when we get in the car, I'm definitely asking you what's up. If we went to like special assemblies or just the meetings 3 days a week, Bible study, whatever, it was really important for us to learn how to read and write and take notes. And I love that, to be able to formulate your mind to make complete thoughts and sentences, being a public speaker, so is it really a cult, or is it really teaching you just how to be a good person, on this planet? So, thinking about advice that this man taught me, as a male figure in my life, I still use it to this day. Like, I thought about it today, walking across the street, don't look people in the eyes, if they feel the vibrations, around you. Does this person give off bad energy? Know your surroundings, be observant. A man should, sit in a certain position when we at a restaurant. There should be some type of chivalry. Back in the day, you had to meet the people family. Now everybody live alone, so there is no family to meet. So now you just gotta make sure you ain't got no stalkers. Do you understand my point here? We're really getting away from a pivotal place in society where it really breaks my heart. And, I'm just thankful for the advice that he gave me, and teaching us the foundations because of the wiles of the world. Ironically, a lot of things that were in the Bible are coming true. A lot of predictions that I have spoken about years ago, documented on YouTube, even blogs I've written, just things that I've said that I had no idea that I was, this advanced or wise, all because of new surroundings and education. If you have an opportunity to leave the projects, do it. If you have an opportunity to give your child a better education, do it. Don't second guess it. Make sure that they are not 100% digital. I'm watching a documentary on television the other day, and visits to people who are incarcerated are looking at a screen and they have a phone and they're just in like a cubby hole. There's no person-to-person interaction. Do you know how heartbreaking that is? How lonely are you in that space? We have to think about the power of all of us getting to a mental breaking point and projecting our minds to another planet. 2022, I had took down my altar and packed it all up because there was like paranormal activity in my home. And while there's always paranormal activity all around, but specifically one ancestor just carried so much energy that they were always around. And at some point I had to recognize that it was a form of protection and not to be afraid of these things. Because when you are chosen, you have special abilities and functions that people will not be able to understand. But I also know that it was important for my dad to pour into me the importance of understanding that there were people who were gifted with spiritual gifts. And sometimes when those spiritual gifts become a form of witchcraft, then what do you think is going to happen? You have to cleanse yourself from certain types of energies. I know that I have a capability that I cannot hide or no longer explain. And this is where we are. So keep the cookies in the cookie jar for as long as you want, at any age that you want. I don't even care if you're married. Allow you and your partner to also have that healing space, fasting together, abstaining together. Reminds me of my homeboy, Brick City Buddha and Candace Love on IG. They were public about their own fasting and being away for their own spiritual journeys and purposes, and taking solo trips and taking trips with friends and doing retreats. All of these things are important because we each have to cultivate our souls, but yet we also have to learn how to be in harmony with one another. If you so happen to find your equal who is willing to climb up to the beanstalk and so important to you on numerous occasions for more than a year without a baby, without it solely being about intimacy, because God forbid something happens and that portion is done, is out. Could you really genuinely be with that person? What does that feel like? You have to think about these types of things. You have to think about these types of things. You have to get out of the root now. It's time to break up out of that soil and, shoot up. I think about wheat, I think about corn, things that grow slow. But once they get to that point, they flourishing. My neighbor had a sunflower seed plant in his yard this year, and it started with 3 big sunflowers. And by the end of the summer, it had like 40 something sunflowers on it. You have to get to a space where your aura is vibrating those energies, regardless of what may be happening around you, because you can transmute yourself to a new place. It is possible. It is possible. So here's some advice that I believe my dad has helped me curate. I'm thankful for his wisdom, and I pray all is well. Peace.